wondering though when, since, because again, I don't really know tons. This is the first time really an election or anything that I've paid close attention to. But when prior to Trump has there been so much hate fueled? I mean, has it been a while since we've seen this, or is
I
this
can't
an
remember
ongoing
it
thing?
ever happening on this level.
And I think we're also this election and the last election were the first time where the battles were being fought online, and social media has moved to the forefront of taking a massive role in swaying the citizenry in how they feel, think. They're really, and I think these companies need to be held accountable. It's not a fair and free democracy if an entire social network that is used by half of the population is pushing one political agenda.
Well, their biases need to be addressed without a doubt. But at the end of the day, it's a bunch of cowards who are, on their phones or on an iPad or some other device, and they would never say the things they're saying if they were in front of the three of us or one of us, even if there were three of them.
Like we get into an argument and we're like, "Yo, I'll meet you and we'll fight right now." And then
what I'm saying is, like,
literally happens.
It's easy to have these ideas, and also like, there's no real back and forth, right? Like, there's no presenting of information or like.
Right.
Hey,
Well, people just get nasty.
perspective?
They just get
What's
nasty.
your perspective on something? So,
Right.
look, sometimes I'll lose my temper with people, and I'll go like, "Look, I'll knock the teeth into the back of your head." Sometimes I go that, but most of the time I'll just be like, "Look, if you want to have a civil debate, I'll listen to anything you have to say.
Right.
But keep it civil. Don't insult. And if they're too insulting, you just block them."
Right.
Do you think it's easier for people to spew vitriol and hatred to an avatar rather than being, like you said, if we were all sitting in a bar or at a club or backstage and these people were there, some of the people who talk shit to me, I'm like 9 times out of 10, dude, you'd ask for my picture. You would ask to take a picture with me.
I just feel like civility is lost when you're online.
Yeah.
When you're behind a screen.
There's no
Because
empathy.
there's actually no repercussions, right? Like, there's a reason why people act right.
Yeah.
Because if you don't act right, sometimes you get dealt with.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's repercussions to coming in your face when you're with your girl and saying you're a racist or you're a bigot or something like that, because then you have somebody real in front of you that can just say, well, let's either discuss it or let's step outside if you want to get to that point, right? Which hopefully people don't. We're trying to avoid that.
Right.
But on the flip side of that is, I see a lot of people getting kind of bushwhacked at dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
When you see BLM walk up with 75 people, pointing fingers in people's faces. How dare you do that?
But again, I think that's calculated. We've talked about that. Like, if us three are at dinner, that they're gonna skip our table.
Yeah, they also don't. I don't think that they do that. If you notice that's not happening in cities and states where you have concealed carry or it's an open carry state, because they know.
They're definitely not doing it in Florida where it's a stand your ground state.
Oh yeah, or Texas or
Yes.
Arizona. It's just not. They've tried. And
But what's funny is, it's kind of like, in some ways, it makes me smile because generally speaking, where these things are taking place, they're all pretty similar in mindsets, right?
Yeah.
And it's backfiring. Similar to what happened with the Me Too movement, which backfired in Hollywood's face in the biggest way possible. And I just sat back and laughed because I was like, you're the jerk-offs that are the worst people. And you're sitting there condescending to the normal person all across the country and talking about how awful they are when you're the one that's awful. You're the one that manipulates situations to your advantage. And you mistreat people.
They
it's
openly they will. Alyssa Milano is a joke. It's like the virtue of the Me Too movement was. It's like BLM. It's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, no, this isn't cool, and then it goes to a way too far extent, and then in 20.
Well, you don't hear about Me Too movement anymore after Biden was accused. It
exactly.
disappeared.
That's the problem.
So their hypocrisy.
And she
is
even
expressed.
came forward and said that, well, we don't have all the facts yet. And it's like, wait, what happened to we're supposed to
But you
believe
don't
the
need
victims?
facts. You don't need facts unless it hurts someone that is a part of your clique.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But again, that's that hierarchy.
it's a
Well,
but it's a meaningless movement now because they took away any credibility they had. If they had any real credibility, they would have said, you know what, this is the Me Too movement. We don't have political affiliations,
Yeah.
and we're gonna press this and find out what the truth of this matter is, no matter who you are.
Well,
Then
like,
they would-
where's the Me Too movement when the NFL's all wearing Jacob Blake things on their helmets? How is the girl that he sexually abused from 9 to 15 and the woman he raped, how are they supposed to feel about all these celebrity athletes taking a knee for a pedophile rapist?
Again, it's
Where's
because
Me
they
Too?
don't do the research.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're doing the right thing. You know, they're looking to their leadership.
Well, I'm
Right.
saying where's Me Too in that?
Well, Me Too is a hypocritical movement,
Mm-hmm.
and
it's
they
like,
have no
where's-
credibility. So,
You know, in 4th of July weekend, there were
by the way,
8
these
kids
are quotes.
shot.
These
Yeah.
are quotes that'll be taken. Me Too. This is what they do to me all the time.
Yeah, it's the same.
Me Too is a hypocritical movement. So they'll take that and they'll make that the centerpiece. And then
Well, it's a job now. You know, there are attorneys who it's the new ambulance chasers, especially in Hollywood. It's like any woman just is like, oh, this happened, and they're like, oh, payday, and they just go right into it. And for the most part, if they go after somebody who's a multimillionaire, they just cut a check and like, yo, get out of here.
yeah, and it worked for a long time until they hit Stan Lee, and people were like, "Fuck off, we don't want to hear anything about Stan Lee." Remember that?
Yeah, yeah. They
And that was
tried.
like that fizzled real fast. And you know who else is, you know, it's kind of nice. Musicians really don't get hit very hard by the Me Too movement for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know. Maybe there's a lowered expectation. They tried to go after Motley Crue after The Dirt came out. There was like a big pushback, and
Nobody cared.
Yeah, because you're like, dude, like, what do you mean? Like, it's like,
You know what you signed.
You know,
up for.
but there are situations like if you look at what happened to the death metal band Decapitated in 2017. They were a Polish death metal band. They all were arrested in L.A. for an alleged gang rape that took place in Spokane, Washington, on that tour 2 days prior.
You know why I can't believe that happened?
Why is that?
No women go to death metal concerts.
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely none. Well,
Or if they do, they went with
turned
another
out.
woman.
Well, I mean,
We're making light of it, but, you know,
it turned out that the whole thing was a lie, and that she had a recorded history of falsifying sexual abuse and police reports, a history, an elongated history. And the case got dropped and thrown out, but they still, how much, a death metal band, they have no money.
Well,
They're-
something else is, as soon as that's out there,
That's
that's the
your name.
perception. And then even if later on it's
they're
disproven,
indemnified, yeah.
your whole life, that's the first thing that comes up on a Google search.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very hard to get past that, right? Like, not very many people can.
Well, yeah, people stop searching for the band name and they start searching for sexual assault by Decapitated, and yeah, that's what they get associated with.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, guilty
even
until
if you're
proven innocent.
Yeah, that's
It is, the metal community is forgiving though. You look at like Tim Lambesis from As I Lay Dying, and we got to get him on the show. But he had this thing where he went to jail for I think 6 years for attempting to hire an undercover cop to assassinate his wife before their divorce. And he went to jail, and he did time, and I mean his decisions affected his entire band, who I'm close with, and they've had to get a therapist to bring the band back together and do all this. And he did his time, and he went to a correctional facility, and it seems like he's doing great. He spends a lot of his time volunteering. He helps a lot of young guys. He works in a treatment facility. And the band has been able to come back. So I don't know if being in a metal band is Ivan has had a history in Five Finger. He'll tell everyone fuck you and walk off the stage drunk, and people they're like, just get sober, bro. And still one of the biggest bands in the world. And so
I just feel like in
is it metal privilege?
no, I think music in general is looked at differently than everything else. I think actors are looked at for what they are. actors, right? Like they pretend they're somebody else all the time. So
And there's a legitimate art form to that I respect, and I want to just say that because I don't like any other creative facet that's outside of music is not, we're all doing this thing because we love it, but I
think the perception of actors is different than the perception of musicians. I feel like people look at musicians as more honest because all of our angst and anger and insecurities come out in our lyrics
because we wear who we
Correct. So I think that there's a little more leeway given to musicians. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of. I probably spend 70% of my time watching movies and TV. I'm a tremendous fan of great acting. Like right now, I'm delving into Billions in the deepest way. Like it's very well written, and like the acting is superb.
That's the Rock one.
Billions?
What's Billions?
No, it's who's the main actor on Billions? Do you know? Not Kevin Spacey.
No,
I don't
Kevin
think you'll see
Spacey's
for a while.
Spacey's out of work for a while.
He was also in the Howard Stern movie. He played Pig Vomiter or Pig Virus, whatever his name was. He's a fantastic actor, like a real.
Oh,
Paul Giamatti. Yeah.
You're thinking of
Ballers.
Ballers.
Oh yeah, Ballers.
which I also like.
And
by
then
the
I
way.
think
a good
that
show.
shows
It's a little woke. It's a little woke for me, Ballers.
Ballers, yeah.
You know, but I still enjoy it.
I'm on The Handmaid's Tale finally.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
I don't even know what that is.
fucking terrifying. I mean, it's a playbook for 2020. It's just they rearrange it so that rather than it's basically women who are under attack, and there's like a sterility pandemic where no one can get pregnant, so anyone who is fertile is abducted, and then like only rich families are use them as cows to procreate children.
Wow.
It's-
What a great concept.
Oh, it's and it's only happening in America. They all talk.
California.
They're like, we almost got we got stopped at the Canadian border. Like they're like, it's just crazy. I'm like, yo, this is nuts.
I'm gonna have to check that out for sure. I'll put
So
that on the list.
I'm on
Before-
season 1, episode 3. It's great.
So John, before we get out of here, you're not going anywhere as far as System of a Down. And
Oh, you mean will I be kicked out of the band?
right. Just to
It's not gonna happen.
right.
No chance.
And what are you guys doing? Patreon? Are you guys writing any music? Doing anything? Getting ready? Or you just kind of?
No, my band's pretty stupid. We haven't made an album in 15 years. We're among the 3 stupidest bands of all time, which would be Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, and Tool.
Right. Very controversial.
Very controversial.
I wish that we could get it together, but it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen. I really hold very little hope for it ever happening.
It's funny that you mentioned those 3 bands because I would argue that those 3 bands are the 3 greatest, like, intact legacy rock bands that at that level that still exist.
It's like Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest.
Well, but do you think it's because of the lack of content, Or
no, I think really it's that egos today are much greater than they were back in the 60s and 70s when bands would be like, you know what, we hate each other or we don't agree or whatever the case may be. But unless someone dies, we're continuing on. You think the Rolling Stones sit there and like call each other every day and dream of being together after this many years?
Right.
Yeah.
But they go up there and they do what they're best at, which is be the Rolling Stones.
And I think you said in the beginning about music bringing, when you're at a concert or whatever, from a fan's point of view of like, at that point in time, I don't care where you're from. I don't really even care what. There's some bands where, like, I'm really hooked into the lyrics and I know it's talking to me. And then there's others like, and for instance, exactly, System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine, Tool. I haven't seen live, but I've seen you guys, and I've seen Rage Against the Machine live. And I'm not there because I'm like, hey, I agree with all this stuff. I'm here because the music and what's going on and the vibe, I identify with it.
You don't have to agree with anything
Right.
lyrically if you don't want to. It's there for your interpretation.
That's the thing too. You could I listen to Rage Against the Machine, and even though Rage Against the Machine is a pronounced like Marxist supporting band, I hear lyrics and I'm like, that's the thing for me as someone who's been in the middle. It's I interpret lyrics from your band and from System of a Down to either party, whoever is the one who is committing, the attrition. and the censorship and being against the people, in my perspective, is how it works.
And by the way, who is the genius that made actors, musicians, and athletes into some kind of demigods who can be the arbiters of thought and morality?
I mean, you don't even have to be that. You can literally just suck a dick and then your family's famous, like the Kardashians. So
I'm on it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't know if I want to go that far to be famous, but maybe some.
John, hit me with some links. Give me your stuff. Plug your stuff. What do you got?
Well, I'm on Instagram at John Dolmayan _ something. I don't know. Whatever. John Dolmayan. It's the only one that's got verification. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I just had to get off. It was too stupid. And that's really it.
How about the comics?
Support Torpedo Comics, and I've got a Kickstarter starting probably tomorrow for my comic book called Essentia, which you can find on Kickstarter. I think you'll be really into that storyline. We didn't get into it, but maybe next time.
Well, we'll have the links, everything where you can find John and anything about the comic book and stuff.
And by the way, guys, I'm going to leave you with this. No matter what your ideology, no matter what your philosophy, understand one or two things here. One, you're allowed to change your mind on things based on new information. And two, there is no political party that's looking out for you. Neither of them. Neither of the major political parties of the two we have here are looking out for you. Look out for yourself. But remember, the Constitution is here. It's your friend. The Bill of Rights is here. It's your friend. Support it, respect it, nurture it, and give it to future generations so that they can have the same rights to make stupid decisions that you do.
Fucking A.
Hell yeah. All right.
You got anything else?
No.
All right. Well, John, thanks again, man. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Happy to be here.
He's a trick without a donkey. Dicks out. From Ohio to Zimbabwe. Dicks out. Dicks out for Harambe. Dicks out. Like a cocktail for